when you got your brand new haircut, that's the first thing I thought was like the guy at the San Quentin machine shop who you want to get on his good side, because he'll give you the good places to punch your holes in the license plates. Like, you are the guy who runs the machine shop.
So it could be
cameo.
something.
I apologize, guys.
Hi, Roxana.
Oh, hey, Roxana, how's it going?
Sorry.
That's okay.
You just made our show so much
So
better.
embarrassed.
Oh my God, so much better.
I want to be the guy in the machine shop. I want people to suck up to me.
Mom, I'm
because
doing a podcast.
You look nice today.
California King.
Dum 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 ba dum ba dum.
Oh, I love you have your Pavarotti towel.
It's very hot. It's a very
But doctor,
active-
I am Lonely Sandwich.
Oh man, it's getting warm. It's definitely spider season. That's one thing that I've been dealing with for the past few days. I'm the tallest person I think on the block, and so when I walk to the stores in the morning, like it's my job to blaze that path on the sidewalk that's been spider webbed over from the previous evening. So it's like a yuppie Indiana Jones, where I have to kind of, instead of swashbuckling through with a machete and an artifact, it's more of a, what is it? It's more of like I make my hands into butterflies and just flutter them in front of my face.
Do you reflexively do the tongue too, like the mouth? Maybe the spider webs didn't get in your mouth, but you have to sort of
No,
at the same time.
no, I don't do any oral ejaculation when I swashbuckle my way to Starbucks.
That's the mark of a true pro.
That's a choice.
No, I have had that moment on the sidewalk where I'll be walking and then suddenly, thank goodness, I'll stop just inches before a descending spider that's just right in my face. Have you ever had that happen? It's like, oh, that's a portent.
I remember when I first heard that in the United States you're never more than X feet away from a spider, and I was like, that's
Wait, sorry, so hold on a second. Isn't that just a fact that people have heard?
Have you ever heard this fact, Adam? There's a fact. There's a fact that wherever you are in America, let's just say it, you're never more than 6 feet away from a spider. Now, is that on average, median mode? Like, what are we talking about? But the problem is, every time I think of that dumb fact that's certainly fake, I look around and I can almost always see a spider. I think I've manifested it with my fear. It's like the opposite of The Secret.
Well, but hold on a
You have
second.
spiders.
I love spiders. Listen, I just want to be super clear. I don't like rodents. I don't care for roaches. I feel like spiders are good luck. I feel like you have to treat them the way other countries might treat, or faiths might treat, a cow. I'm not going to worship the spider, but I'm going to do everything I can to keep it safe, because I feel like killing a spider is really bad mojo.
I wonder, is that fact, the fact that you just cited, Merlin, is that one way to take it is that there are so many spiders everywhere that it's an almost statistical certainty that there will be one near you. Another way to take it...
You're saying it's like the law of large spiders. Like there's so many of them, it has to come up. Okay.
That's one route. The one route is that there's just so many that there's one near you. Another route is that one has been assigned to you. To be like your buddy.
So you're saying not only that, but they're organized.
Well, they're organized.
They have like Excel.
Yeah.
Rudy, you're going to cover Scott today. Can you get in his face? He's a Paul Bunyan like mythic character in Burlingame for his ability to walk through the streets like an Indiana Jones. No time to argue. Throw me the COVID, I'll throw you the Lululemon pants. And he's knocking all that down. But Rudy, get on the job.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the movie? I think it was Elliot Gould. It's called Oh Heavenly Dog. I might be making this up. It might be a dream, but
Chevy Chase.
Oh Heavenly Dog. Oh,
Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase.
What was the one with Elliot Gould? Oh, they're both in it. Okay, good. I didn't dream that
I think
part.
it's the voice
and
of Chevy Chase. I think he plays the titular dog. I think, but
Okay, so that, but Scott's spiders. I think they're all, they're visitors from your past.
Possibly. I see. No, they could be. I mean, certainly combining.
Would that
everything we've
change
said-
things for you? Would that make you feel better or worse?
Oh, it'd make me feel a lot better, and I think it sort of combines everything that we've said so far, in the sense that spiders are almost certainly deeply misunderstood in our culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're here's what we know: they often hunt the worst pests. Here's what we may know: they're assigned individually to watch over us. If you
So
put
we
all
have
that
at this
together-
point we have at least 2 provable spider facts. One is that no matter how you run the numbers, you're near a fucking spider. Don't worry about that. This is the second one we understand. Well, it might be at this point. I think we might be up to 3. We could explore this, but yes, they're organized. Yes, they have something like probably Google Sheets, which don't try to use that on a spider iPad because it's just a horror show. But then we also know that they become a kind of an ad hoc guardian angel for your pals. Like you get a spider is assigned to you, and then maybe it's like getting maybe it's like a sponsor in AA. I don't know, but I agree that a spider is a difficult thing to know.
Do you guys always kill a spider, never kill a spider, or sometimes kill a spider?
Never.
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 No. I'm this guy. I take the card. I take the cup.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm gonna be
yeah,
honest
that's a
with
good-
you. If that's a fucking moth, I'm gonna tell my kid I'm, taking it up to the farm upstate, squash the shit out of a moth. But I will not kill a spider. I will not. And now I think I know why. Kind of, right? Could there potentially be like a psychic bond? I don't know. That's stupid. But I would love a bond with a arachnid or a crab. I wouldn't mind having a crab that I could work with.
Oh, a crab pal?
A little crab buddy. You could use, like old people get those accessibility devices. Like I could use them to get things off a shelf and then
Oh,
eat
like
them.
a support crab.
Like an emotional support crab. Yes. Spider facts. What else?
I'll usually
Yeah.
try to save the spider's life. I'll grab it softly with a tissue, because the cup trick is really great, but you don't often have a piece of paper.
Right.
But I'll grab it softly with a tissue, send it out into the world with 2 or 3 broken legs, and then I've formed a lifelong bond.
And then
with
it
that
limps
spider.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
took
like,
the thorn
thanks-
out of the
thanks for
lion.
nothing,
It's
asshole.
more like you put a paring knife into the lion and then felt a little bit prouder of yourself than you probably should be. Good for you.
It's
Good
always
for
going to
you.
remember you.
That's tough to do. But now if you had an emotional support crab, let's call him Henry. Henry would be able to like gently grab him for you.
Oh, I see.
There are a lot of spider facts that a lot of people are still figuring. Every spider is really into Miles Davis,
Really?
and not just Kind of Blue. I mean, obviously all arachnids and insects own a copy of Kind of Blue, but they'll go a little. They'll do a bitch's brew.
Wow.
What else you know about spiders? That's going to get cut out.
That's strange.
That's good. Oh, what do I do with spiders? You know what I do with spiders? I will, to be honest as well, this has been a long period of transition for me from having been a person who was a spider killer. Whenever I saw one, I thought it was a sign of masculinity and strength, which is interesting because there are no other indicators that I have either masculinity or strength in my life. It was maybe one of the few things I held on to as a proof that I was a man.
That's a shame.
Yeah,
It's hard to
I'd kill a
let
spider.
stuff like that go. Like say you're on your first date and you have to go get a lobster, from behind the refrigerator, and that's the way that you can have kind of a meet cute with the lobster. That's hard. There's so much they're taking away from us. I mean, is there a paradigmatic change we should be looking at in how we look at our home and who's allowed in it? I used to be very afraid of possums, opossums. I didn't like them. And I thought they
possums,
looked like
yeah.
hairy little penises, and I didn't want them on with their little babies in the yard. And I was very hostile to some possums. But, shame on me. I feel like I should be more welcoming for whatever comes into my house. Is there anything that I can learn about my relationship with these various critters that have been assigned to me?
Oh, hello, Mr. Possum. Come on in. Oh yeah, I don't know. Possums to me, they look like the animal that crawls out of a larger animal. having controlled it.
God.
Yeah. No, I don't know about possums. There's no cup and paper trick either that's big enough to successfully remove. Is that
Really,
the secret?
really big.
Is that's the I think. Listen, all right. Here's an idea.
Okay.
Hunting is something that the three of us have never been doers of. I imagine
Done
I've
together.
never been a hunter.
That's right.
We've certainly never done it together. But we're all at the stage of life where we're capable of trapping a spider with a cup and a piece of paper and releasing it in the outside. Big cup, big paper. We take down a 12-point buck. If the cup and the paper are big enough,
You would need 3 people. You would need at least 3 people for that.
it's a multi-person sized cup to take
It's kind
down.
of like when you decide to become a lifestyle pantomime horse with your friend, and you got to pick, what end are you going to be? You got the
Right.
cupsman, you got the paperman,
Oh, sure.
you got the horn. I assume the horn grabber. I have so much to learn. Do I get to get
Right.
gear? Can I get gear for this? Because for me,
But
gear.
then
I've just got the thing on my watch that tells me when I'm a good boy for washing my hands. I'm washing my hands so much more. If I had something that could make me a buck cupper, just
When you mount it on the wall, do you mount it in the cup, in the paper and the cup, or do you?
I mean,
you mount the cup right
obviously-
next to it.
I mean, this is a catch. This is let's be clear. We are not killing these animals. That's
No.
not something that we're interested in. We're not interested in mounting a dead animal on the wall. We will temporarily mount in a large, transparent, branded cup a live animal on the wall. Provided it's taken care of and has, its companion spider nearby and everybody.
It's less of an
you know.
aquarium than a kind of like Eldritch Edgar Allan Poe sort of presentation.
Yeah, I guess I have a feeling that might not be the most humane.
Well,
way
I mean,
to-
come on. Let's just. I know this is a little bit out of our comfort zone, but I think that's
Right,
part of the reason
right.
this is a valuable exercise. We know, for example, that a lot of men like to go fishing in a boat so that they can drink. And there are a lot of men that like to go hunting so they can drink. And you might want to go to like a sports ball game because you like to drink. I'm not saying we have to drink when we do this, but we could learn a lot about each other. We could potentially have a sweat lodge, but I think we could also make a lot of animals very uncomfortable. Could we get wranglers and helpers, like a squire, like somebody who could carry our buckets for us until we need them? Like a
I
bunch of
don't-
kingsmen going out to do the king's sport.
I don't hate that. I don't hate
Yeah.
that. But, as you spoke, I realized, and you mentioned sweat lodge and brothership, brotherhood, fathership. What? I realized that we're carrying our shelter on our backs with, any coffee mug shaped device that's large enough to take down a male massive deer.
Right.
That's going to be big enough for us to sit cross-legged and steam it up hot enough.
Your cup is your
for us
tent.
to see things. Your cup is your tent.
And it's probably,
cup is
you
your
want
Well,
to
Well,
have
that's our
holes in it.
tent. It has to be big enough for the 3 of us in order to commune.
Okay, all right.
Right.
But it's also sort of like the guys who are like, oh, I'm a bow hunter. I don't like to use a gun. It's not competitive. It's not fair to the spider if I'm using a longbow. It's a similar thing here. Where sure we could go out with a gun. Any dingling can buy a gun.
Right, exactly.
But a true bucketman will live in his trap outdoors. Leave only footprints. Take only buckets of animals. That's what they say in the national parks. And no smoking. You can vape, but you can't smoke, Adam.
oh
I-
man,
In my bucket.
It's funny how many activities now that I'm no longer a drinker. It's funny how many activities are instantly uninteresting to me. Like going out with friends, awful. Fishing, ridiculous. Would never
Sports?
think about it.
Would you go? I mean, even if you could go see the Burlingame flyovers at SFO Field, would you? Would you
think
want to
we have
go
a-
there?
We have like a the double A equivalent of a soccer team here. I forget what they're called. The judgy. I don't know what they're called, but they they play here. They play here, and fortunately for me, I've never been interested in seeing them, so I don't know what it would be like to not be drinking. But
So
Yeah, so
boring,
many
so
activities.
excruciating. You're such an outsider. Like even if you're like doing like a dry January thing or something, you go around people and you're like, wow, is this really what it's like all the time? I mean, ooh.
Yeah, well, doing comedy too means you're out late at night and you're in situations where everybody's drinking, and when you're not drinking, and you guys have certainly done this many times, you look around and it's like people are having a progressive shouting contest. Like it's just the volume that you never noticed because you were a part of it has now become so loud. Ugh.
You left the din. You know, you're not as involved in that anymore. But it's also, we haven't caught up with you in a while on this, Scott. But it's been a while since we've really talked about your area, and a lot's changed in the world.
Yep.
I imagine you're still driving your Prius, but I mean, like in terms of the sort of like rituals, like like when the gorillas go up against the two silverbacks are going to meet, at the Flyovers game or whatever.
Right.
Like, are there? How has that evolved over time? Have you found a place in your community as now a longtime resident where like are you getting more status because of your spider skills? Just bring us up to date. What is life in Burlingame like these days?
Well, for me, this is kind of the benefit of being somebody who does something very different from the rest of my neighbors. The rest of my neighbors all work at various biotech firms, inventing some extremely expensive form of cancer treatment. And then I participate in none of that hierarchy in any way, right? I live in a house that hasn't been painted in a decade, and I'm like the funny person. Nobody knows how I make money. I don't even know how I make money. There's confusion, and I think because I'm, what's a good cultural comparison? I don't want to say, what's somebody who's so far outside, or even so low on a social continuum that they exist independent of it. That's me. That's me.
You're like so it's like you're a non-combatant in some ways. You don't even have enough dignity for them to try and make you feel bad. Is that part of it?
Exactly. Yeah. The dignities. Yeah. I register a 0 on almost any scale.
That is such a gift. It is such a gift.
It's liberating. It is.
Oh my God, it feels so good. I go to Target and I do not. Well, in the 4 times. Go to Target and usually you feel menaced by all the guys in no sleeve shirts with their beards and their Oakleys on backwards, and but I don't think they even see me. I'm like I have these. It's the same way that a woman gets a little older, and I don't know what comes above MILF, but something like that.
Sure.
And I think I'm the male version of that, which is
you're a male cougar.
Dad, nobody wants to talk to. I don't know what the acronym for that is.
I didn't know it.
Yeah. But proud, but very proud.
Oh, I like
see all that playing out, and then again, we're right back to the Bucks, like the Silverbacks going up against each other. Where you have to do all these things, and I mean, I don't know if we've talked about this lately. I mean, I still find myself in situations, especially like in my kid's school or something, where because it's the Bay Area, everybody wants to ask you a passive aggressive question that will let them know approximately how much money you make. And so then you're expected to talk about your job. And as I've mentioned before, I just tell people that I'm a ceramicist, and they get bored so quickly that they don't have any follow. There's no follow-up questions for a ceramicist. This must be hard for you, Adam. Like, what do you tell people you do? Do you tell people what you do?
Do I tell people what I do? So there's so many. It's such a wide spectrum of people who do what I do, especially in this town, especially now, that even if I say the impressive version of what I do, it sounds very unimpressive because everybody,
right.
runs a damn video company or makes whatever. So, like, I try to not make a thing about it and then throw back to them because it's very boring. It's very uninteresting what I do.
There's no interesting. Adam. The problem is there's very few interesting conversations to come out of that approach. It is necessarily somewhat distancing and adversarial. I mean, it's one thing to say like, oh, you grew up where I did, or you went to the college that I went to. Isn't that a cool coincidence? Instead of being like, which one of us owns more of Miramax today? Like it just.
Well, it's difficult too. And Adam, I don't know what your solution to this is, but when there are 2 possible approaches to the what do you do question, there's the literal answer, which is fine, and as Merlin says, it generally conversationally tends to go nowhere. But then there's the horrible nightmare douchebag answer, which is I don't like to talk about that. Or
It feels like a way out, but it's not. You know, it's interesting. So if I were to say, I mean, I don't know what you guys do actually, but Adam might say, oh, I'm a video producer. Scott might say I'm a comedian. I might say I'm a podcaster. Those are all really stupid and no one cares. What if we started adding the industry that we're in and the word consultant after that? What if you said that you're a comedy consultant, Scott?
Oh, well, it would allow me not to have to be funny, which is
they're not going to
already
say. Well, it would be one thing to say to a comedian. You meet the late Mitch Hedberg, and you say, "Oh, you're a comedian. Make me laugh." And with you, then you have an out because people could say, "Oh, you're can you consult for me?" Like here at this cocktail party, can you consult about comedy for me? I mean, who's going to do that? Stop it short. I'm a podcast
I like that.
consultant.
It's kind of the equivalent of a script doctor where you just have to be good at fixing problems. You don't actually have to be good at writing movies.
You do punch up.
If it's
They call
comedy
it punch up.
doctor,
Is that what it is?
right. And if you're a comedy doctor, you don't have to be funny.
Hang on.
So no
comedy
pressure
doctor.
there.
Comedy doctor.
perfect. Or a doctor.
I don't hate that. I'm a podcast.
Or I could be a video doctor. Maybe it's just that's the solution. You just append
You are the
doctor
video
to
doctor, my
whatever.
friend. You're the video
podcast
doctor.
Podcast doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor. Or Dr. Podcast.
And it's
Dr.
ambiguous
Video,
enough
Dr.
that
Comedy.
Yeah, who? So, and then the
That
follow-up
should
question
be
is,
your new
wow,
YouTube
what the hell is
channel.
that?
Right. What is that? And then you can walk away and go get another mocktail.
Don't go in there. Somebody shot in there. Wasn't me. Okay, I don't know. I'm a doctor.
Mocktails are, by
Mocktails.
implication of what you just said, mocktails are served in the bathroom.
Okay. Well, you know what? You don't get to decide what makes you horny, and you don't get to decide when you get thirsty, or whatever. So maybe there's an extremely wet bar in the bathroom of the doctor's house. Welcome. I'm the doctor. If you want to drink, go literally anywhere.
I think the bathroom is also almost always where people realize that they are alcoholics.
Looking in the mirror while Needle in the Hay is playing.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
how many devices and props are there in a bathroom to remind you that you're an alcoholic, right? Like
Toothbrush.
The bathroom is for introspection.
There's like at least 3 reasons a drunk needs a toilet.
There's a toilet, right?
You
The
got to
toilet
barf in
is-
it. You get the shits because you had all that Jägermeister or what have you.
Sure. There's the
Toothbrush.
mirror.
Yeah.
There's the shower, which is often where people have intense realizations.
Where you cry, yeah.
A lot of crying.
There's no reason you can't put a bar in there. Just something simple. Like a lot of in our neighborhood, they're trying to address the whole we're reopening thing. And I was saying to my lady, usually in San Francisco, you can't do fuck all in this town without going downtown, going to the permits place. I mean, I don't even want to get into the stuff that you have to do to basically just keep your normal status as a person in a room in San Francisco. Just hope it doesn't become declared historical. But you're going to have to go file some paperwork because I just want to use my door. Oh, really? What kind of door? Ugh. And now it's getting a little bit chaotic. God bless them. They need to stay alive. But some of these folks are really swinging for the fences. And there's no reason that we can't do that and help people. It's not a pop-up. Pop-up is so 2018.
Right,
It would
pop
just-
in.
It would be an ad hoc doc. The doctor is open.
The doctor is in.
Our new branded
there. The doctor
bar
is
for
in
your
there.
bathroom. It's called Drink and Stink, and you go in there and you bring your mocktail, and you just
Right.
ruin that toilet.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like it.
Adam, what do you want to be
know.
assigned?
What do I want to be assigned?
Well, let's look at it this way. Setting aside the idea of going out and hunting, not hunting these large animals, if you could have some kind of a little buddy from the insect or arachnid world, or even a small rodent, if you like, whom would you like to be assigned, and do you have a notion of what their role in your life would be?
I want it to be silent. I want it to be relatively, static. I want it to not distract me, but I want it to maybe. I'm trying to think of how it might convey wisdom to me because that's what I require from my.
I think what you want is a
assigned creature.
fountain pen. I think.
That's not alive. Hold on.
Well, I mean, not alive. I mean, what's alive? But, you know,
Not
it could be
us.
like a familiar. And like, you know, maybe you want something adorable that fits in your pocket, or maybe you want something hideous and terrifying. So when you're in line for the fucking Japanese waffles, you can fucking scare everybody away. They just scatter because now you've cast your spirit animal or a fountain pen on the
Yeah.
ground. And everybody's like, I don't like this scene. This is feeling a little bit like a lot.
That's a fair point, Merlin. I was really with Adam in his description of what his companion creature should be, but when you added the potential for it to terrify others,
Right.
I realized that that's something that I think would be nice for it to have. As
I mean,
well.
who knows? This is the problem with all of this. This is very speculative. It's a very faith-based initiative. This entire idea
It's an
that
FBI.
there are you know people what do they call it? Pronoia. It's the opposite of paranoia. Pronoia is the idea is of assuming that everybody is out to help you, which is manic. Let's be honest.
Is that
doesn't
real?
make
Is that
it-
a thing that people have?
I have I believe Perfect Bound a book about it that was $3. It's called Pronoia, and it's one of those old school kind of like an anarchist cookbook, sort of like lots of line drawings and stuff in it.
Yeah.
About finding joy in beams of personhood. But the same deal here. I mean, if we are to assume, just take it as read, we don't know what is out there and why it would help us and how. But I will open my heart to that. I don't want to look. I already have a lizard and a cat and a daughter, so I'm not sure that I want a lifestyle possum in my house. But I would open my heart to a comfort crab and how we can help each other. They call it symbiosis.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Adam's got.
Adam,
his
I would
fountain
love you to get something that makes you happy. It could be like a hungry little caterpillar, or
I mean,
a shrew.
could
No,
mine
a shrew
just
looks a
be-
lot like a possum. So no.
pen. What do you think,
I
Adam?
want it to be you guys. Is that weird?
Oh,
Could we
like,
be little?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like on your shoulder, like instead of good and bad, just sort of shitty and shittier.
Wait,
No, just
so,
always-
Yeah, so you're saying
always
Warner
there.
Brothers cartoon, you got a devil and an angel, except in this case it's Scott and Merlin, and we're encouraging you to make very, very different terrible decisions right now. Maybe you gotta whisper in your ear.
Gotta whisper in your ear.
Have
Just
vanilla.
don't type
Yeah.
in don't type in the organic code for the bananas. Just type in the regular
in the regular
4011.
Put in a really easy password. Make a really easy password. It's okay. It's all right. Boy, that lady
is what I
sure
need.
was slow with your coffee. You should yell at her.
Do you guys have? Okay, I have a question. I have a question for you about our nascent, I guess lab coated bartender in the bathroom, serving non-alcoholic drinks. Do you guys have like a go-to? No, I mean it doesn't have to be fancy, but what's your go-to beverage? I mean, Merlin, I know that you're a huge seltzer fan. When you want to spruce it up, when you want to have an evening drink, what do you do these days?
A
Is this an
non-alcoholic drink.
intervention? It's okay if it is, but
What's your favorite?
because I feel like this might be a
thing
little
that
bit of a
won't kill
honeypot.
you?
Maybe a little bit of honeypot you're setting up for me here.
No, I've
I lo-
been looking lately just to try and find something at night to just enjoy that's not marijuana.
Yeah.
And
Do
Did you ever
edibles count? Edibles don't count, right?
I hope not.
I enjoy a kombucha, to be honest with you. Like, especially a fancy one that you paid too much. You paid too much money for.
Oh,
Does it
yeah.
give you the squirts? With all respect,
No, not at all. I feel like it keeps me healthy.
because it's got that placenta
I
thing
think.
in it, and then it makes the spritzy.
What?
You ever seen that? You ever seen how kombucha? Well, Adam, don't listen to this. Scott, have you ever seen how kombucha is made?
No, no. I always just assumed.
Let's just put it this way: they did
Pruno.
not bury it under the tree. Is what I'm saying. It goes-
Ugh.
yeah, then it gets nasty. It's basically watery cheese with
Is
placenta.
it? Wait,
in
is kombucha? I know very little about. Is kombucha like a kimchi type scenario, like an active culture?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
It's ferment. I don't know. It just tastes weird and alcohol-y without poisoning
Right.
you. I assume.
It's sort of like I feel like it's a little bit the ones I like. I got into it for a while. But my friends got me into it. You do need to be careful because it will give you the squirts. So make sure you got a honey bucket nearby. But I would say it's a little bit like a sea breeze or the simplified version of vodka and cranberry juice, but imagine it's got a little bit of, you put in a little bit like a very strong soda stream seltzer, right? So it's fizzy, it's tangy, it's got a lot going on. It can be really fun.
That sounds
It's
delicious.
pungent. It stinks a little bit, but just enough, because things that we associate with giving us too much pleasure stink and hurt a little bit, right? That's the fun part. Like, oh, this can't be good for me. It's stinky and it hurts me, and I'm going to regret this. So you just need to.
I'd love to learn a little more about this. So it could
Well,
also
that
be
makes
something.
sense.
So if you're doing it right, it should be fun, but painful or stinky, right? And that can be a bellwether to say, will I enjoy this? Well, so far it hurts a little bit. I should probably do it more, but slowly.
Right.
Okay.
So you're saying like a mocktail could be like a can of Coke with just a little bit of dog shit. Is that
Right.
I don't know.
Sure.
Right. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I would decant it carefully. You leave it open usually for like a minute or so just to let it breathe. You put it in. And, again, a lot of people, they're very interested in the science of cocktails. And it's so nice for them to talk to you about it.
Oh, I love it. It's never
I guess
tiresome.
you're probably wondering why the ice cube is spherical. I wasn't. I was hoping you could make me a drink. Good question. The way the surface area.
How many dads just got giant ice cube trays for Father's Day? How many dads? Did you know?
Well, no, I'm having fun, but no, I bought a thing for making a large ice cube.
We have the round ice cube, the spherical ice cube maker, jingity doo, in our fridge somewhere.
It's fine. I mean, to me, it's a little bit like coffee or fellatio, where you can really overthink it. It's fine. It's fine. Gas station coffee, gas station fellatio, it's all fine. It's fine. Just
Right.
as long as the water's clean, if you know what I mean. But
I've learned a lot. I just about how to enjoy something per Adam's rubric, which is essentially make it bad. Is that
I would say make it challenging.
okay?
The
Is that
ratio
right?
is
Is
like
right?
2 to 3 of enjoy to really hate and regret.
Okay, so a good mocktail would be like I don't know, a glass of orange juice and a Sudoku.
Or a glass of orange juice and a toothbrush with paste on it. And mix it around.
Oh, as a swizzle.
Well, I mean, it's a kind of an amuse-bouche, pardon my French. I'm very interested in this because you think about all the things that we've actually been pretty modest. There's that old joke, the old poem about the first person who ever ate an oyster. Are we still pushing the envelope that hard? Yes, including mocktails. Are there things in the bathroom that could go into the mocktail that might enhance the flavor profile or destroy the flavor profile in a way that your personally assigned spider doctor thinks might be something you hate? I don't know.
I love it.
I haven't been to spider mixology school.
I love it. Oh God! Did I ever tell you guys?
Really?
Oh, hold on. Have I? I'm sure I've told you guys about my run-in with the Flair bartender. Have I ever told you guys about my run-in with the Flair bartender? Oh, brother, this was one of my favorite guys I've ever met. I was in Frankfurt, no reason, and I was drinking at a bar, and I was sitting next to this guy, and we got to talking, and he was telling me how he was saving up money to go to Flair bartending school, which of course is in Tampa, which is the style of bartending that is like the cocktail, Tom Cruise and Cocktail.
The cocktail,
Sure.
yeah.
You throw the bottles around, you juggle and pour, that kind of thing. It's a school. You
That's
can
a
go
thing,
to it.
and it has a school, and it's in Tampa.
It's in Florida
Until you got to
somewhere.
Tampa, it seemed crazy, but now it suddenly makes a ton. They should have 5 of those in Tampa.
I think it was in Tampa. It was certainly in Florida somewhere. That's why I said
If it was in
Tampa,
Florida, it might as
because
well be in Tampa. Yeah,
That's I think that's the motto of Tampa and Florida.
but it has
So
a
he
couple.
was
It
telling
has
me.
a couple typos, but it's on the fly.
He was showing me videos of him practicing on his. And he's like, of course, you cannot practice in your kitchen. You have to practice in the park. So he's in the park, in the middle of the park, just
Are they
'Cause
stunt
if things
bottles?
go
Like rubber
wrong-
bottles? Is like
They were-
rubber
they
chucks,
were-
but for bottles?
I don't remember if they were full or not. I think he was practicing with his 4 or 5 different shaped bottles. I don't know what kind of skills there are to learn, but he was saving up to go. And I was like, how are you saving up? And he's a flight attendant on Lufthansa until he got enough money to go to Flair bartending school and become, an accredited Flair bartender. But, I mean, I only bring that up because, Jesus Christ, would a Flair spider bartender be a sight to see.
Scott, that's amazing. Let me take it and turn it. What else in the educational system can we prepend the word Flair?
Flair.
Because it strikes me that if you had a Flair doctor who also knew how to mix a drink, maybe just stethoscope tricks, or I don't know, maybe he can spin your X-ray on his finger or something.
That's a
fun.
great point. I mean, imagine all of the scripts that were on Tom Cruise's desk when he chose Cocktail. I mean, Flair teacher. Let's say, what's the Michelle Pfeiffer movie where she goes into a rough neighborhood?
Gangster's Paradise movie, right?
Turn it all around. Yeah, a Flair.
Okay.
Flair inner city teacher, doctor.
Flair inner city teacher.
Doctor. Yeah.
Doctor.
And he could do tricks with the baseball bat.
Oh, right. Because
I think if you're an inner city teacher, you need to have a baseball bat, right? It's a symbol of your masculine power.
Love.
Yeah, but you could also use it, to treat people as a physician, presumably, or kill a spider if that's what you're into,
or do a trick.
Oh, there's so many ways. Because now more and more, you look at what's happening in our educational system. The entire college and university system is even more disrupted and screwed up than well, frankly, we fixed it a few years back. But a lot has happened. There's a lot of water under the med school at this point, and and it's not just about climbing walls anymore. You're going to have to find a way to add flair to whatever. Maybe you could become a Flair philosopher. You could become a Flair musicologist. I mean, they probably could really use it.
I think this is a wonderful way to distinguish oneself in an otherwise endless sea of applicants for any job.
Can you imagine the difference in a job interview? If you go in to get a job as a chemist and you're able to whip a fucking Erlenmeyer flask into the air and catch it on your finger and then lead, not just then lead the Macarena.
Well, the nice thing about a Flair...
When can you start?
The nice thing about a Flair chemist, too, is that his or her environment, their laboratory, actually looks like what in your childish imagination a chemist's laboratory looks like. And it doesn't look like some bullshit science building where they work now. It's got like bubbles and everything is different colors.
You're talking about like Dr. Frankenstein's lab. You got like a Tesla coil.
There's a zippy coil.
That would be so fun.
That's all part of the Flair chemists.
You do a month of that. You matriculate into the Flair School. Holy shit! It's just going to make us look. It's so pale in comparison. I mean.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. So, here's what we're realizing now. You take Flair and you put it on top of anything, and it makes it better or at least different. Why don't we just start a Flair school that will teach anybody from any profession how to Flair? Because I assume the same principles apply.
It's kind of like the liberal arts, where you're going to learn how to learn. And in this case, you come in, and regardless of your background, let's say you work in a sewer, well, you're going to learn to Flair your own Flair. Teach a man to Flair, and he's going to have a different, better job, is the saying that people say. Oh, Scott, this is a tremendous thing. And you know what else is great is we don't need any actual expertise. I think we can just show people how to make something a little more snappy, right?
That's exactly.
I think a lot of it's just doing little movements like this. Obviously, you come in, you're like, what? It's good. I think to really sort of root people. I'm loving this, Scott. Thank you. I think first of all, we got to really root people out. Find who's serious about Flair School. So yes, you will have to learn juggling. Yes, you will be on a recumbent bike. Like it's a lot like becoming a clown, but in a very, very serious and mindful way. Maybe you could be like a Flair Buddhist, or not. I just love to teach.
Oh, this has got.
Where else do we see Flair right now? I feel like Flair as a concept, and I'm differentiating it from that very funny movie, but I think. But Flair in the sense of, I would say there's a lot of performers where what they do is based on Flair. Now, try and be a magician who's not employing Flair. I think they're going
Oh.
to drum you straight out of there. If you're like a little bit mopey when you're doing your little card tricks and pulling coins out of people's shit, like usually if you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think just modulate your flair relative to the average amount of flair in the profession. I think that's what our secret is. I don't know, Adam. Is there? I mean, what comes along when we say flair? I mean, obviously there's juggling.
Yeah.
There's probably fire.
I don't see this a lot, but I'm going to say gymnastics, the ability to do a cartwheel. I'd say that's a nice piece of flair. Like not everybody can do it, but like you're hanging out and waiting for the
Yeah.
flyovers to start, and you just do like 4 or 5 round-offs and then really nail the landing. That's some serious
Mr.
fucking flair, Scott.
I've got some news for you, Mr. Anderson. You've got cancer. Right?
Circus
Spice up a
music.
diagnosis.
Ta-da! You've been served.
This has been You Look Nice Today.
Telephone King.
Thank you.